1. Nothing Phone 3 Review, everything you need to know. 2. Nothing Phone 3, Reparability and Durability revealed in Teardown video. 1. Nothing Phone 3 Review, everything you need to know. Bold beginnings often fuel the biggest debates, especially when a company dares to think differently. The Nothing Phone 3 stakes its claim with style and ambition, but is pushing the limits of design enough to challenge the smartphone status quo. Let's find out where Nothing's direction pays off, and where the conversation gets heated. The battle for smartphone innovation is fiercer than ever. Despite many companies scaling back or even abandoning their mobile projects, UK-based Nothing Technologies has doubled down, determined to stand out with its quirky aesthetic and unique approach. Their latest release, the Nothing Phone 3, marks their boldest and first flagship leap into the US market. But here's where it gets controversial. While the Phone 3 features Nothing's trademark transparent design and those signature glowing accents, some will say it's not breaking entirely new ground underneath the surface. A familiar front and unmistakable back. At first glance, the Nothing Phone 3 could almost blend in with its competitors. The 6.67-inch OLED display stretches edge to edge under Gorilla Glass 7i, delivering 1260 by 2800 pixels with a buttery smooth 120 Hz refresh rate, and up to 4500 nits of brightness. That's brighter than almost anything else on the market, even if real-world visibility changes aren't dramatic. Any outdoor readers out there? No more squinting in the sun is a real perk. The super responsive touch can actually be a bit too sensitive, expect the occasional accidental tap near the edges. Let's talk hardware. For $799 you're getting Snapdragon 8th Gen 4 chip, 12 GB or 16 GB RAM, up to 512 GB storage, Quad 50MP camera setup, main, ultra-wide, 3x telephoto, selfie. Massive 5150 mAh battery. 65W wired/15W wireless charging. IP68 dust and water resistance. Android 15 system with 5 years of promised updates. On looks alone, Nothing Phone 3 has a clean, symmetrical feel, echoing the minimalism of recent Pixels and Galaxies. The matte aluminum frame adds grip, and the included clear case is a nice gesture, though it feels a bit on the flimsy side, expect it to yellow with use. You won't find extras like a headphone jack or IR blaster here, but the tactile flat buttons feel solid, with the essential key below the power button enhancing the experience, even if it's a bit easy to press by accident and can't be customized for other functions. This could spark debate. Should all side buttons be remappable, or does strict design discipline win out? Turn the phone over, and this is where Nothing's flair shines. Instead of exposing the internals directly, Nothing uses a subtly layered effect under robust Gorilla Glass Victus, creating a distinctive, eye-catching rear. The camera array sits at the upper edge, next to Nothing's signature, Glyph Matrix, a monochrome dot matrix LED setup replacing the older Glyph light bars. A pressure-sensitive button triggers different patterns and notifications, from a digital clock to novelty features like a handheld Magic 8-ball or minigame. Visually, it's mesmerizing. Practically, it's polarizing. Is it just another gimmick or a fresh take on phone interactions? Here's the part most people miss. Beyond the light show, the back-facing Glyph display has real, but limited, utility. You can use it for basic alerts or for the brave play rock, paper, scissors. But how often do you really check the back of your phone? Is this clever differentiation, or just another feature most will ignore after the initial fun? Performance, fast enough but not top of its class. Nothing markets the Phone 3 as its flagship, but it opts for the Snapdragon 8th Gen 4 rather than the absolute fastest Snapdragon 8 Elite. This means it runs on standard ARM CPU cores instead of Qualcomm's flagship Orion ones, and the GPU is a bit more modest. Benchmark chasers might note it's 40% slower on paper than the Snapdragon 8 Elite, but graphics performance is surprisingly close. Great news for gamers, unless you're pushing intense 3D titles. Using the Phone 3 is a breeze. Apps launch quickly, multitasking is snappy, and the software animations feel as smooth as the best Pixels. Sure, it can run hot during extended gaming, but thermal throttling stays well managed. The 5150 mAh battery is even larger than the massive Galaxy S25 Ultra, easily powering you through a full day. With 65W wired charging, even a quick pit stop via USB PD will get you hours of use. Apple, Google, and Samsung can't keep up in this department. You also get 15W wireless charging, but notably, Qi 2's magnetic charging isn't supported. While nothing supports AT&T and T-Mobile in the US, Verizon users are left out in the cold. Should all unlocked phones work everywhere, or is selective support the new norm? Camera, for big sensors, mixed results. Stepping up to flagship territory means camera upgrades, and nothing delivers with 450MP sensors for wide, telephoto, ultra-wide, and selfies. Pixel binning produces 12.5MP output for bright, detailed photos, and colors are accurate under most circumstances. However, here's where opinions will definitely split. Shutter lag is a real thorn. Despite strong sensors and pleasing color science, there's just too much delay, especially with moving subjects or low light. Active kids or pets. Expect blur. Landscape shine, macros are solid if you remember to activate the mode, but the 3x periscope zoom doesn't match the quality of Samsung or Google rivals. So can software updates fix these camera issues, or is the hardware falling short? Let the debate begin. Software, minimalist Android, thoughtful features, AI toss-up. Nothing OS 3.5 sits atop Android 15, and it's a delight, a rarity among heavily themed Android skins. Instead of clutter, you get a sleek, consistent look with fun widgets and handy features like a customizable quick settings menu. Even so, some features don't land perfectly, like a stubbornly metric weather widget or a slightly tricky back gesture. The dot matrix vibe is unique and may not be for everyone, but it's clear a lot of care went into the look and feel. Here comes the AI curveball. The Essential Space feature works with the dedicated button to snap annotated screenshots or record memos, processing information to suggest reminders and to-dos. Sometimes it's insightful, other times it misses the mark. Unlike Google's Pixel, there's no search or deep integration, and there are minor privacy questions since screenshots get uploaded for analysis, though nothing promises your data isn't stored. Do you trust new players with your data, or stick to established brands? Nothing promises 5 years of OS upgrades, 2 years. 2. Nothing Phone 3, Reparability and Durability revealed in Teardown video. Imagine a smartphone that's as unique on the inside as it is on the outside. Welcome to the Nothing Phone 3, a device that's been making waves with its unconventional design and intriguing features. But here's where it gets interesting. What happens when you take this phone apart? A new Teardown video has revealed the inner workings of the Nothing Phone 3, and the results are both fascinating and thought-provoking. The phone's rear panel, with its intricate detailing inspired by an artist's interpretation of a smartphone's inner mechanics, is not only visually striking but also presents a challenge when it comes to repairability. As it turns out, this design choice makes it slightly more difficult to remove the rear panel compared to other Android handsets. The famous YouTuber Zach Nelson of the Jerry Rig Everything channel has likened the phone's design to a Picasso painting, and it's clear that Nothing has taken a bold approach to smartphone design. One of the most notable features of the Nothing Phone 3 is its Glyph Matrix, a unique interface composed of 489 individual LEDs that are controlled by a small capacitive button on the rear panel. This innovative feature is located under the phone's clear glass rear panel, which provides some protection against damage. However, should the Glyph Matrix break, it may need to be replaced, adding an extra layer of complexity to the phone's maintenance. The phone's camera rings are also raised, making them potentially vulnerable to damage if not handled carefully. On the other hand, the phone's use of 80% recycled steel, 100% recycled aluminum, and 100% renewable energy in its manufacture is a significant step towards sustainability. But here's the question: does this eco-friendly approach offset the phone's other shortcomings, such as its sub-premium Snapdragon 8th Gen 4 SoC and relatively small battery? The answer, much like the phone itself, is multifaceted. With a price tag of $799 on Amazon, the Nothing Phone 3 is certainly more affordable than some of its flagship competitors, which can cost over $1,000. And this is the part most people miss. The phone's durability and repairability may not be as compromised as one might expect, given its unconventional design. In fact, the jerry-rig everything teardown suggests that the phone has the scratch dash, burn dash, and bend resistance of a typical upper-tier Android smartphone. The Essential Key, another novel feature of the Phone 3, is reminiscent of OnePlus Plus Key, but with a shiny material that's prone to scratches. As we delve deeper into the world of smartphone design and innovation, it's clear that the Nothing Phone 3 is a device that sparks both admiration and controversy. So we ask you, what do you think about the Nothing Phone 3's unique design and features? Do you think its eco-friendly approach and affordable price make up for its shortcomings, or are there other factors at play? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's start a conversation about the future of smartphone design.